My Dandavat pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna. On the 1st of February, Thursday, 2024. Jaidev Goswami Tirobhav today. Very powerful personality in our line, giving us remarkable insight into the meeting and separation, especially the separation between Radha and Krishna in his Gita Govinda. Completely magnificent. Heart melting. Heart melting. Okay, sound is good. Very good. Okay, so we'll have a kirtan and then continue. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Shrimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prashtaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshavidhi Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gauda Oh Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha Madana Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha Madana Mohan Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhavika Grit Hare. Radha Madan Mohan Ju ki jai. Vrishabhanu Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani ki jai. Nityananda Roy ki jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Surabhi Kunj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Taradara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Taradara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Satchitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Varantaracharya Ki Jai. Jai Shila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai. Jai Shila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsad Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gautamdvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritujip Danadvip Modamdvip Rudradvip Atmaka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwalasa Varmatmaka Shri Brajamandal Giriraj Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai. Jai Radha Kund Shama Kund Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Shrimati Yogmaya Punamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai, Gopishwa Mahadev Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai, Yatra Mandal Ki Jai, Sarva Vigna Vinashakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Pravash Prahlad Shi Prahlad Ki Jai, Jai Charidam Ki Jai, Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai, Chari Acharya Ki Jai, Anagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Bhatta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gauda Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Megina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Priya Swarupe Daita Sarupe Prema Sarupe Sahaja Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swabila Sarupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunaivartino Kalo Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dudikatamba Sadipita Sada Hridare Kandare Swaratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Pravajantamanapetyamapeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabo Benedustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Paradram Tato Mamanasti Katina Kapi Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astol Tarazarashi Shimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astol Tarazarashi Shimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And to our dear most beloved Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gauda Shakti Swarapaya Rupa Nuga Vraite. And on this most special Tirobhav day of Srila Jaidev Goswami, I'm offering my Dandavat pranams and hoping some Kripa will come from his divine lotus feet. And all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Hare Krishna. Avansha kalpa turubhyascha kripa sindhubevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnave namo namaha. So coming to our subject matter of Jaiva Dharma, and we're into the first 5 today, verses on page 129. Pritivite yatakata dharma namechale bhagavata kaya shava paripurna chale, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. All the philosophies on earth that are celebrated as dharma are utterly deceptive. That is a huge statement. All the ideas of material dharma. It's not talking about nitya dharma. It's talking about naimitic dharma. If it's naimitic dharma, it's deceptive because it's not feeding your soul. It's feeding your material conception of being the material body. That's what it's feeding. If we follow the varnashram, etc., all these different dharmas, which are conducive if they're in a ladder to come to nitya prem. But if it's just followed separately, then it has no eternal benefit. But if the purpose of following varnashram, for example, is to achieve Nitya Prem, then it has the greatest benefit. All of Indian culture flourished under this system of Daivi Varnashram, was manifested by Krishna himself directly for all the different orders of human society to find a harmonious place of working together with the intention to focus on Nitya Prem. So then it has prominence. But if it's simply Dharma without the Nitya Prem, if it's only the four Purusarthas that's saying in the next verse, if it's just Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, if it's like that, then this is referring to Naimitic Dharma, ultimately Moksha. That's the ultimate goal of those dharmas. Therefore, they are utterly deceptive. Chale dharma chadikara satya dharma mate chaturvagya tyaji dara nitya premagati. One should completely abandon such deceptive dharmas and absorb his mind in true dharma. In other words, one should give up the fourfold goals of material life, that's nimitic, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and aspire solely for the ultimate destination of nitya prem. Yes. Amidvamimam sabrame nija jali buddhi, nirvishesha brahma gyana chita shuddhi. Those who are deluded identify themselves with matter, that is their error. However, one cannot be purified of such delusion by endeavors for nirvishesh brahm gyan. You cannot achieve the spiritual consciousness by use of material speculative intelligence. Spiritual consciousness is beyond the material senses. So, how could you imagine to use your material senses to reach something that is beyond the material senses? It's not possible. It never will be possible. We'll just fall into a quagmire of delusion and speculative thinking. And at best, we'll aim for moksha, this nirvishesh brahm gyan. That's what we will aim for. That's where the material senses will take us. Without that transcendental ingredient coming from Sadguru, coming from our Guru Vargya. Sadguru means that perfect Guru. We have the Sadhan, the perfect practice. We have the Sadhya, the perfect goal, and we have the Sadguru, the perfect Guru, the perfect master. All of these are perfect. Sad means perfect. So all of these um, uh, supports for our connecting with transcendence are there. So it would be a complete um, failure on our part to ignore the Shastric indications of Srimad Bhagavatam in particular, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and of course Jaiva Dhamma. They are all indicating Nityadam exclusively. Ivitrata hina hale nivrishesha hoy, kala samatulya seya aprakrita noy. The Mayavadi thinks Sri Krishna to be subject to the limitations of time, such as birth and death, and considers that he is not transcendental. Yes, the Mayavadi is that one who's trying to use his material senses to attain something that is spiritual. He's trying to use the uh, ingredients of this material world, Mayavadi, and actually, ultimately, he's considering that he himself is actually God. That's also that's the limit of Mayavad, that he himself believes he's God. He can't reach transcendence. So, failing to do that, his next best option is to consider himself to be transcendental. But this is completely bogus and will only lead to the most utter inauspicious destination. Thus, he rejects Sri Bhagavan's Vichitrata, astonishing characteristics, paraphernalia, qualities, and lila. Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm. How tragic to not have faith in Krishna's divine pastimes. They are so astonishing. It's astonishing just to consider Krishna and his creation, for example. How does he manifest his creation? He's not, he's in this world in every single atom, but we can't see him. So this illusion that we live in is made stronger because we can't actually see God. But if you have the ears to hear, and if you have the intelligence to um, understand what is that higher state of consciousness, then you can see Krishna in the Vigraha. You can see Krishna in the hearts of the devotees. You can see Krishna in every atom. You can look at any tree and you can see that Krishna is the seed giving father. Trees don't just come from earth, as the Mayavads think that Mother Nature will just produce a tree. Where is the life within the tree? The symptom of life is consciousness. So consciousness is according to 6 stages. There's birth, and then there's growth. There's what is it? Birth, growth, um, reproduction. Then there's dwindling, old age, and death. All of these 6 symptoms are of consciousness. That seed of consciousness can only come from that seed-giving Father, Sri Krishna ultimately. And there is variety in all of nature. Each seed, each transcendental entity has its own particular speciality. Even in nature, it might seem like all the banana trees look the same, but one will grow the fruits quicker than the other, etc. They all have distinguishing features, all of them. None of them, if you examine closely a whole plantation of banana trees, some will have broader leaves, some will have narrower leaves, because each individual soul has its unique speciality. And we should see that in all souls of this world.
You say the snowflake is different.
Yes, even a snowflake is considered different. Yes, hard to conceive, but for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his inconceivable, this adhoxaja, potency, it's saying here, ivitrata or vichitrata, astonishing characteristics. He is astonishing. And the Mayavad, he's going to miss all of that. He's just going to be stuck in a very blank Shantaras state, very boring, even though he has no desires, and comparatively to the material consciousness, he's satisfied. But there's no relationship there. There's no sambandha in the Brahman. There's no relationship with the Supreme Lord. So this is futile attempt, this Nirvishesh Brahm. Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm. He cooks the seed of his transcendental nature. It will never flourish. Once you actually reach that place of Shantaras, my Gurudev described, like you put chickpeas in a frying pan and you cook them, they can never sprout again. So those jivas can never sprout again. Although, by a miracle of Krishna's mercy and compassion, if a saintly person like Narada Rishi and Gira Rishi comes through the airwaves, the dust from his lotus feet can reignite the desire for love in the heart of that jiva. And he wants love, but he doesn't, he's envious of Krishna, so he comes into this world looking for love here. And if he's fortunate to come in contact with a Mahabhagavat pure devotee while he's in this world, then he can be put on the path back to the spiritual realm. Otherwise, his destination is very dubious, doubtful. Kanda jnana hoya dharma ache sunishchaya prakriti hoila kabu aprakrita noya. Such base and contemptible gyan, which arises out of an attempt to dismember the divine form of Bhagavan, is only fit to be rejected. It is prakrita, materialistic, and should never be given credence as aprakat dham. Yes, this materialistic mentality of me trying to be the controller of this world, imagining myself to be God. This is to be rejected. This is contemptible. This actually is painful for the jiva to have to endure through that. It's painful because it's painful for Krishna that the jiva should put himself through so much um, effort with no accomplishment. Nothing can be achieved in that material realm.
It's interesting in today's age, there is this very strong accent on not accepting authority.
I know.
Nobody wants to, even the devotees that come and join, they don't want to accept any
I was
authority.
thinking the whole hippie movement, that was about the same thing.
But now it's a new movement that it's even maybe stronger than that.
Yes. What do they call it? Woke or something. They want to break
Yeah,
down.
woke. Yeah,
They want to break down all even past history. They don't want to acknowledge anything
yeah.
of authority. This is the influence of this age of Kali. And many um, devious men of some potency have constructed this mentality and hypnotized the public with this conception that actually sinful life is the most happiest and satisfying. They've twisted the whole true Nitya Dharma on its head. And of course, the conditioned souls who are not educated, they will accept this because it seems like instant pleasure. We shouldn't have any morals. We should just behave however we want. It doesn't matter. That there is no real God of value. There is no real scripture. A hedonistic society. And this is all pushed and promulgated by the greed for money and wealth, where they think they can exploit nature more.
But also, what I've heard more of like control, because the money they already have, but they want to control.
Yes, but by the money they can control. It's by the that economic development. Then what are the two qualities of demons? This is the demon era. This is Kali Yuga. This is the era of the demons. We should expect the demons, just like in Hiranyakashipu's time. They all the planet were like demoniac because they were being run by such a powerful personality like Hiranyakashipu. Two qualities of a demon is to control people and to make them fearful. These are the two qualities. And you see general governments and societies, they are trying to push fear into the hearts of all the people to make them afraid. And they want to control them, to make them do this, make them do that, make them put poison inside their bodies, etc. All kinds of different things that they do. And they're succeeding, it seems. But we'll see with the vital ingredient, which they have neglected and don't consider a reality, is that ingredient of the supreme truth. This they haven't considered is a reality. All those demons are most afraid of the Hare Krishnas because actually the intelligent demons, they understand that these Hare Krishnas, they're not afraid. What is that verse? Bhayam divitiya biniveshitam syat isat upatasya vipareo shmriti tanmaya tayo buddha abhidecham bhaktiyaikeksham guru devatama. This bhayam means fear. Fear arises from material absorption. So these demons are totally immersed in matter. So therefore, and also, of course, we have to consider, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada told us, the populace have to suffer fear because of the number of cows that they've killed. If you're contributing to the slaughter of cows, then that karmic reaction is going to come back to us in a form of fear. Everyone will become terrified. But devotees don't need to be afraid of anything. If devotees are chanting, we don't know what is the result that Krishna will manifest. But if we become weak and listen to all the demonic prophecies for the future, how bad it's going to be, this and so, it has nothing to do with the devotee's spirit of advancing in transcendence. Krishna is always ready. Ananyas chintayantomam ye jana pasita. He's always ready to carry the devotee. Tesham niktam nuktanam bhajate tad yogya. He's always willing to carry what we lack and give what we lack and support,
Preserve, yeah. Preserve.
preserve. So the devotee should never be afraid in any circumstance whatsoever. If he's afraid, it's because he's thinking he's the material body. That's what that verse says. Bhayam dvitiya niveshitam syat. Fear arises from material absorption. And if the devotees have not become strong in their belief in Shastra, in their belief in Nam, in their belief in association, in their belief in the Dham, if their belief in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if these factors haven't become prominent in the devotees' hearts, they're going to give in to fearful, the atmosphere is fearful. They're creating a fearful atmosphere for mankind. Krishna will not tolerate it ultimately. The devotee must be very resolute and determined and know conclusively that spirit is higher than matter. This is the very first thing we learn in devotional service in the second chapter, Bhagavad Gita. It's the first thing. I am spirit, not matter. And if I'm believing that even a little bit, then I'm sheltered from the storm. But if I'm getting influenced by the fearful atmosphere of Kali Yuga, then I have to chant more. Mahaprabhu's given us the antidote, completely given us the antidote. But are we taking it? Are we drinking this nectar? And at this particular time in our history, it's so necessary for us to increase this chanting of the Hare Krishna. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, we come into an atmosphere of sound vibration. That sound vibration penetrates all the coverings in the universe. That sound vibration will connect us to transcendental reality of consciousness. And don't doubt that the fears will just run away very quickly. When we rise first thing in the morning, our minds are often bewildered by tamagun. Sleep is tamagun. The senses have shut down during sleep. But as soon as we start to chant, we see literally the tamagun just peeling away, peeling away. And after 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of chanting, that tamagun has really gone away and it's been replaced by not only sattva gun, but shuddha sattva. And then carefully we're reflecting on all the instructions of Shastra and chanting more, praying for realization of these truths and not giving in to fear. This fear means the demons will control you. If you give in to fear, it means it's like a ghost. I've said before, a ghost, what is the only weapon that a ghost has? Is to create fear. If suddenly doors start slamming and you are aware that there's some other entity and you can become very afraid. But if you've read the fifth canto, if you're a little bit in touch with Bhagavatam and devotional precepts, what fear? You actually feel sorry. You feel more like compassion. Give that ghost some Mahaprasad. Put some Mahaprasad there. Chant some mantra. Call the ghost. Oh, please take this. Listen to the sound. Remember the story when Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada went to the house of John Lennon and he was walking around with his cane and he was flicking like this. And the devotee said, "What are you doing, Prabhupada?" He said, "I'm chasing the ghosts away." It was full of ghosts. Where do ghosts go? They go to rich and famous people. They hang off them. I was with a Ghostbuster once in Bhubaneswar, just outside of Bhubaneswar, and he had a city from his birth. And I asked him, "What does it look like when you see all these ghosts?" And he said, "They're just like hanging off." He said he saw this boy George when he was in America. I've forgotten the name of it. Chitaleshwara, this man was named. He was very well known in ISKCON. They were all going to see him for busting ghosts and stuff like that.
Was it the same one that you
Chikaleshwara.
gave me there?
Yeah. Anyway, he was telling me how he sees them and they're all like hanging. Sometimes someone, he described Boy George, for example, because he met him or something. He had like 30 or 40 ghosts hanging on him because the ghost is going to get more sense gratification out of someone who has more material facility. And that person doesn't even realize. They're just in a haunted high condition of consciousness, tragic, really tragic. Okay, let's come into our chapter. But yes, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything in this material world. Only be afraid of losing association with devotees. This we should be afraid of. This is what Ramananda Rai has said in the Rai Ramananda Sambad in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu asked, "What is there to be afraid of in this world?" He said, "The only fear is separation from devotees. If I'm alone, away from Vaishnavas, it means also in my consciousness." What's that say on the back of that rucksack?
closer to you than the air you
I
breathe.
am closer to you than the air that you breathe.
Is
Yes, this is my Gurudev speaking. It's the truth. The Mahajans are always accessible. They love us. They really love us. And they want to give us their comforting association. It's always there. We just have to connect with them. Like today, we should be thinking of Jaidev Goswami. If you have the Gita Govinda in your house, then you should look at some pages. You should pray to Jaidev Goswami. Remarkable personality. We can send you some things on the WhatsApp. I'm not getting into so many of these personalities because our time is limited, our reading. So I'm hoping that people will on their own glorify. I'm just mentioning the name to remind us. But for example, on these appearance and disappearance days, if you glorify the personality, don't doubt that there's like a window that opens up and that personality can stream his divine consciousness into your heart if you're remembering that personality. Actually, there's a festival. It's about 2 hours driving from here, the birthplace of Jaidev Goswami. And today, they always celebrate a big mela. We went there a couple of years ago, and it's a huge fair and very beautiful darshan of Jaidev and his wife Padmavati is there, and beautiful Thakurji. And you can see these deities and become absorbed in this person of Jaidev Goswami and receive his kripa. That's our duty. Okay, we've come to chapter 9 today. So, Nityadam, material science and civilization. Um, I hope that you remember all the other chapters reasonably clearly. You know, the first chapter, Sannyasi Thakur arrives with Premdas Babaji, and then Sannyasi Thakur, he asks beautiful question in that first chapter. If Dharma is one, how come there are so many different opinions on it? He answers this question. And then in the second chapter, he says, if the jiva is infinitesimal, how can he be pure? How can he be, if he's temporary, how can he be transcendental? He asked this question at the beginning of chapter 2. And then in chapter 3, Mahashai, Lahari Mahashai, is asking the question about caste Brahmana and the Sandhya Vandana prayers. And it's Vaishnava Das Babaji who answers those questions. And then in the fourth chapter, he oh, yes, in the third chapter, it's Naimitic Dharma must be relinquished. Then in the fourth chapter, there's beautiful teachings by Vaishnavadas to Lahari Mahashai. And Lahari Mahashai becomes completely um, understanding what is Shuddha Vaishnavism. And then in chapter 5, um, we have the pastime of Lahari Mahashai's sons, Deva, what's his name? Devadatta. What's his name now? Devidas. Devidas comes and they speak with their father. He speaks with the father, try to bring him home. So Lahari now is preaching. First of all, Premdas Babaji was preaching in the first chapter. In the third chapter, Vaishnava Das is preaching. In the fifth chapter, now Lahari Mahashai is preaching. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is weaving an incredible narrative through these chapters, all connecting with Nitya Dharma, Nitya Prem. And then in the sixth chapter, most beautiful conversation between the Pandits, Chandidas, etc. These different, not Chandidas, um, Chudamani, these Brahman Pandits have all come to argue with the Vaishnavas. And there's beautiful discussion where they try to defeat the Vaishnavas, but Vaishnav Das Babaji again defeats them completely with his wonderful erudition of what is true Siddhanta. The smartas basically are purified in that sixth chapter, very powerful chapter. Chapter 7 is Chandidas and Damayanti, listening to Anantadas, that beautiful narration. And chapter 8, we've just finished, is Vaishnava etiquette. They've approached Haridas Babaji And Nityananda has been asking those beautiful questions about Vaishnava behavior and etiquette. So this is the history so far we've come. Now we come to chapter 9. Lahari Mahashai lived in the association of Vaishnavas in Sri Godrum for 3 or 4 years, and thus his heart became fully pure. It takes time to purify the heart. It's not going to happen overnight. If we're suffering from some type of disease, we're not going to be cured in a day. It'll take some time, some months, sometimes even some years to be purified of our disease. So Lahari Mahashai, for 3 or 4 years, thus his heart became fully pure. At all times he chanted Harinam, while eating, walking, and sitting, before sleeping and after rising. This is the life of a dedicated mendicant, a dedicated Vaishnava, who has realized the absolute necessity of the opportunity now to pick up this truth, and there's no time to waste. So all his time, walking, eating, sleeping, waking, rising, were involved with chanting. He wore simple cloths and did not even use shoes or sandals. Why? This is to reduce any material activities. The more simple our lifestyles, the more, the less we have to arrange to carry on our material activities. If we complicate our lives with so many material acquisitions, then it takes up so much of our time. But if we live simple living and high thinking, this is what Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada coined this expression. So Lahari Mahashai is definitely like this. He had relinquished his pride in his caste so completely that as soon as he saw a Vaishnava, he would offer him Dandavat pranams and forcibly take the dust from his feet. This is a huge thing for a caste Brahmana to be offering Dandavat pranams to someone who may not be a Brahmana. They may be a Vaishya or even a Shudra. But still, as a Vaishnava now, he's seeing all the Vaishnavas as praiseworthy. He's not distinguishing between Brahman or any caste within himself. This is a huge thing. We don't understand in the Western world what it means to be born in a Brahmin family. We had our beloved Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj described to us. He came from a completely Paka Brahmin family. And when he first came to the mutt, he was horrified that he was going to have to be served prasadam by someone other than a Brahmin. In his life, he had never taken anything, his whole life, at the age of about 20, 21, 22, never taken anything from the hand of someone who wasn't a Brahmana. This is the culture. And he'd only ever taken Mahaprasad in his whole life. He'd never taken anything else. So when you have that sort of impression, that sort of sanskar, it's very deep. So to become purified of that and see it beyond that as Vaishnavas, that Vaishnavas actually are beyond even the caste consideration. It's a huge thing. For Westerners, we don't understand it because we haven't been brought up in that circumstance. But we should appreciate the depth of this in Indian culture. It's very, very deep. Even today, of course, you go around anywhere and everyone will know who is a Brahmin and who is not a Brahmin. They'll behave accordingly. He had relinquished his pride in his caste so completely that as soon as he saw a Vaishnava, he would offer him Dandavat pranams and forcibly take the dust from his feet. He would seek out pure Vaishnavas in order to honor the remnants of their meals. His sons came to him from time to time, but when they understood his mood, they departed quickly, not daring to propose that he should come home with them. To look at Lahari Mahashai now, one would certainly take him to be a Vaishnava Babaji. From the philosophy of the Vaishnavas of Sri Godram, Lahari Mahashai had understood that the essential principle in genuine detachment within the heart and is genuine detachment within the heart and not the adoption of external dress or not the sorry and not the adoption of the external dress of renunciation. Yes, it's a heart process. It's not about the external dress. We said in the very beginning when Vaishnava Das was asking to change his dress, Babaji said, I don't give instructions on dress. I wait until your dress is coming from your heart and you decide that's most convenient for your lifestyle to arrange for your dress. My Gurudev used to always say, if you're married, you stay in the married ashram. If you're brahmachari, then stay in the brahmachari ashram. If you're sannyasi, then stay in that. Don't be jumping around from one ashram to the next ashram to the next. Very bewildering for the mind. Just stay in one place. Don't be jumping. Um, had understood that the essential principle in genuine detachment is genuine detachment within the heart, and not the adoption of external dress of renunciation. In order to minimize his needs, he followed the example of Sri Sanatana Goswami and tore one piece of cloth into four to use as his garments. That means a top piece and a bottom piece, and then you're washing one. You have two sets of cloth, one you're washing and one you're wearing. He tore one piece of cloth into four to use as his garments. Nonetheless, he still wore his sacred thread around his neck. Yes, that's optional. Whenever his sons wanted to give him some money, he would reply, I will not accept even a single kodi from materialists. Kodi is like a conch shell worth of money. Chandrasekhar, his eldest son, once brought him 100 rupees for a festival to feed the Vaishnavas, but Lahari Mahashai remembered Sri Das Goswami's example and did not accept the money. This is a little bit different to the yukta vairagya that we understand. If we get offered money, we take it and we utilize it. We utilize whatever is given to us in Krishna's service. We're not, if someone wants to give us some money, take it and buy books with it, or help some construction of a temple, or food for life, or some type of distribution, or make the money be utilized in Krishna's service to therefore um, give mercy to the person who gave the money. If someone gives you money and you use that money in Krishna's service, then that's great fortune for that person who gave the money. One day, Paramahamsa Babaji said, Lahari Maharshai, you are now free from all traces of non-Vaishnava behavior. Even though you have accepted the vows of mendicancy, we can still learn much from you about renunciation. So the Vaishnavas are respectful and admiring his renunciation. You need only accept a Vaishnava name for everything to be complete. Lahari Maharshai replied, you are my Param Guru. Please do as you see fit. So this is Paramahamsa Babaji. Babaji Maharshai said, your residence is at Sri Shantipur, so we will address you as Sri Advaita Das. Lahari Maharshai fell in prostrated obeisances and accepted the mercy of his new name. From that day on, everyone called him Sri Advaita Das, and they referred to the kutia in which he resided and performed his bhajan as Advaita Kutia. The name is important because we start to relate to the name rather than our previous name. My Guru Dev used to very quickly give Harinam initiation, and he described that it makes that person feel part of the Vaishnava group just by having a Vaishnava name. If you make them wait so long before you even give them Harinam, then perhaps they may leave. But if you give them a Vaishnava name, it's almost like you're putting a collar around them straight away. So he was very liberal with Harinam. Diksha would be different, but Harinam, and we in our various circumstances of preaching amongst different people, as soon as it's possible to give someone a devotional name, we should do like that. You can call it a pet name or anything like that, anything you want to say, but make them feel like a devotee. If you get that name, it gives you the identity of being a devotee rather than of being a materialist. Straight away, you change your identity. Advaita Das had a childhood friend named Digambar Chattopadhyaya, who had earned vast wealth and reputation by performing important services in the Muslim royal administration. When Digambar Chattopadhyaya attained seniority, he retired from his government post and returned to his village of Ambika. There he heard that his childhood friend had renounced his home and was now living in Godrum under the name Sri Advaita Das and was spending his time chanting Harinam. Digambar Chattopadhyaya was a dogmatic worshipper of the goddess Durga, and he would block his ears with his hands if he so much as heard the name of a Vaishnava. When he heard about the downfall of his beloved friend, he said to his servant, Vamanadas, arrange for a boat immediately, and I will go straight to Godrum. The servant quickly hired a boat and reported back to his master. Digambar Chattopadhyaya was very astute. He was a scholar of the Tantra Shastras and was highly skilled in the ways of Muslim civilization. His knowledge of Farsi and Arabic forced even Muslim scholars and teachers to admit defeat at his hands, and he would leave any Brahmana scholar dumbfounded by his expertise in arguing the Tantra Shastras. He had acquired a significant reputation in Delhi, Lucknow, and other cities, and in his spare time he had written a book called Tantra Sangraha, a compendium on the Tantra, in which he displayed his extensive learning through his commentaries on the shlokas. Digambar took his Tantra Sangraha with him and climbed into the boat in a fiery mood. Within 6 hours, they arrived at Sri Goda. Ambika Kalna is only about an hour or so south of here, but previously the principal way to travel was by Ganga on boat. Within 6 hours, they arrived at Shigodram, where Digambar instructed an intelligent man to go to Sri Advaita Das while he himself remained in the boat. Digambar's messenger found Sri Advaita Das sitting in his kutia chanting Harinam, and he offered pranam to him. Who are you, and why have you come? Inquired Advaita Das. The man replied, I have been sent by the Venerable Digambar Chattopadhyaya. He asks whether Kalidas still remembers him or whether he has forgotten him. Sri Advaitadas asked rather eagerly, Where is Digambar? He is my childhood friend. How could I possibly forget him? Has he now adopted Vaishnava Dharma? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is remarkable. He's weaving in here. He's just elevated Lahari Maharshai to the platform of Advaita Das Babaji. And now he's going to be given a test of his childhood friend and what is their relationship. His childhood friend is as far away from a Vaishnava as we could imagine. And how is he going to relate in a loving way with an old friend as well as maintain his very strict principles of Vaishnavism? This is what this chapter is going to be about. It's remarkable how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is weaving this together. The man said, He is sitting in a boat at the riverside. I cannot say whether he is a Vaishnava or not. Advaita Das said, Why is he at the riverside? Why doesn't he come to my kutia? But you see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is illuminating all kinds of things here. How Digambar has his servant immediately. This is the Brahmin caste. They have the servants, and they just perform these activities immediately. And when the boat reaches, he just calls one person who immediately will go and perform a menial service like a messenger. This is the remnant of Varnashram Dham. You see, it's there. It's impregnated into society of this land. When the messenger heard these inviting words, he left to inform Digambar, who arrived at Advaita Kutia within an hour, accompanied by a few other gentlemen. Digambar had always been a generous man at heart, and now he became overwhelmed with joy when he saw his old friend. He embraced Sri Advaita Das and sang a song that he had composed himself. Kali Tomara Lila Kela Ke Jana Ma Tribhuvane Kabu Purush Kabu Nari Kabu Mata Hoy Rane Brahma Hoye Shristi Kare Shristi Nasha Hoya Hare Vishnu Hoye Vishva Vyapi Pala Go Ma Sarva Jane Krishna Rupe Vrindavane Vamsi Bhajayo Vane Vane Abara Gaura Hoya Navadvipa Matayo Shabe Sankirtane. O Mother Kali, who in the three worlds can fathom your pastimes? Sometimes you take the shape of a man, sometimes that of a woman, and sometimes you appear in battle in a ferocious mood. As Lord Brahma, you create the universe. As Lord Shiva, you destroy it. And as Lord Vishnu, you pervade the universe and maintain all living entities. As Sri Krishna, you appear in Vrindavan and wander from forest to forest playing the flute. Then again you appear in Navadvip as Sri Gora and intoxicate everyone with the chanting of Sri Harinam. So we can get the identity of Digambar straight away. He's attributing all this to Mother Kali. Mother Kali is the supreme. This is who Digambar is. This is what we're going to be confronting here. Advaitadas offered Digambar Chattopadhyaya a seat made of leaves, saying, "Come in, my brother, come in. It has been such a long time since we last met." So even though he's understanding, obviously, the condition of Digambar's mind, still he's welcoming him because he's putting their familial relationship first. That would be a confrontation of material love if he said, "Oh, why you straight away start arguing or something." This is not gentle behavior. Digambar sat on the seat, expressing his affection with tears as he said, "My brother Kalidas, where shall I go? Now you have become a renunciant, and you don't care for the devas or for your religious duties. I came from Punjab filled with so much hope, but our boyhood friends have all gone. Pesha, Pagal, Kendar, Girish, Ishe, Pagala, Pagla, Danuv, Kali, the carpenter, and Kanti Bhattacharya have all passed away. Now only you and I remain. I thought I could sometimes cross the Ganga and meet you at Shantipur, and you could sometimes cross the Ganga and visit me in Ambika. We could have spent whatever time remains to us singing together and studying the Tantra Shastra. Alas, fate has dealt me a cruel blow. You have become a worthless heap of cow dung, of no use in this life or the next. Tell me, how has this happened to you?" So Digambar is a straightforward, honest man, and he's expressing his feelings here. Advaitadas could see that his boyhood friend was most undesirable company, and he began to devise a way of escaping from his clutches. Thinking like this, he said, "Brother Digambar, do you remember the day in Ambika when you were playing Guli Danda, and we reached the old tamarind tree?" Digambar, "Yes, yes, I remember very clearly. It was the tamarind tree just next to Goridas Pandit's house. Gaur Nitai used to sit underneath that tree." Adwaita, "Yes, yes, brother. As we were playing, you said, 'Don't touch this tamarind tree. Aunt Sachi's son used to sit here, and if you touch this tree, we shall become renunciants.'" Digambar, "Fine, fine. I remember it well. I noticed that you had some leaning towards the Vaishnavas, and I said, if you fall into I said you will fall into Gauranga's trap." Adwaita, "Brother, that has been my nature. At that time, I was only on the verge of falling into that trap, but now I have actually fallen in. Digambar, take my hand and come out. It is not good to remain in a trap." Adwaita, "Brother, I am very happy in this trap. I pray to remain here forever. Just touch this trap once and see for yourself." Digambar, "I have seen everything. It seems like happiness in the beginning, but in the end you will see that it is just deception." Adwaita, "And what about the trap you are in? Do you expect to obtain great happiness in the end? Don't delude yourself." So they're bringing it to a head. Digambar, "Look, we are the attendants of the goddess Mahavidya, Durga. We enjoy happiness now, and we will also enjoy it hereafter. We think you think that you are happy now, but I don't see that you are happy at all. Furthermore, there will be no limit to your suffering in the end. I cannot understand why anyone becomes a Vaishnava. You see, we enjoy eating meat and fish. We are well dressed, and we are more civilized than you Vaishnavas. We enjoy all the happiness that material science affords, whereas you are deprived of all these things, and ultimately you will not even gain deliverance. Adwaita, why, brother? Why do you claim that there will be no deliverance for me in the end? Digambar, no one, even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva, can ever obtain salvation if they are indifferent to Mother Nistarini. Mother Nistarini, she who grants deliverance, is the primordial power. She manifests Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and after that she maintains them by her active potency, Karya Shakti. When that mother desires, everything re enters her womb, which is the vessel that contains the entire universe. Have you ever worshipped the mother to invoke her mercy? So now we're coming into a long discussion on Mother Nistarini. So I think we'll stop at this place. So remember for tomorrow. Adwaita is asking, is Mother Nistarini a conscious entity or inert matter? Digambar, she is consciousness personified, and she possesses independent will. It is by her desire alone that spirit is created. So we'll stop there and carry on tomorrow. But it's a fascinating conversation that's about to manifest between these two. How amazing is Bhaktivinoda Thakur weaving such an incredible, dramatic narration just to give us the all of the essential ingredients of what can happen when you're a Vaishnava. You can meet all different people of different um, cults and beliefs, and maybe they're material old friends like this. How are you going to deal with that? How is that going to work out? But we take one thing, that Advaita is completely respectful at this point. The behavior is proper, is not um, angry or anything like that. So this is important to appreciate. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gold Premanande. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo Hari. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Gora Premanandi, Hari Haribo, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Vaishnavas ki jai. Gora Premanandi, Hari Haribo. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnave Namah. Jaidev Goswami ki jai. Hari bol, Hari bol.